thank you all for coming here to listen to me rant on why I think everyone in this room, everyone in Sydney, everyone in the world should have something in their lives that they do for others and with others. Whether you call this volunteering, whether you call this community engagement, whether you call this just mates helping mates. I think everyone should have something that they do regularly to help other people with other people. Now, what I might do to best explain why I think this is talk about a bit of history, a bit of science if you can stand it, then my own personal experience with doing so, and why I think you should do it too. So, I'm sure at some point you've heard someone refer to us, humans, as social beings. Because us humans all have this urge to be with other humans, to be part of a community. Now, like me, you might have wondered why this is. Why does almost every human on the planet have this desire to be with other humans? Well, apparently that's because back in the bad old hunter-gatherer days, hundreds of thousands of years ago, your life pretty much depended on it. If you tried to live on your own, you were kind of screwed because our species' survival depended on being with one another, being part of a community in our tribes where it could more easily share our resources, share our skills, and fight off threats. Because at its most simplistic, you had a way better chance of fighting off a particularly aggro dingo if it wasn't just you, but you and your 10 best mates. So what happened over the tens of thousands of years of living in this communal way? This way of life became so ingrained in us that it actually became part of our physiology. We are hardwired to want to be together, to work together. So much so that this innate collaborative ability actually became our superpower. It enabled us to build the science, the technologies, the culture that underpin the globe-spanning societies in which we all now live. But just as we become to completely dominate the entire world and free ourselves from almost any need to live in an interdependent community, shit has started to go wrong. There is a reason why the most developed countries in the world have the highest rates of social isolation, loneliness, and antidepressant prescription. To oversimplify once again, as individual wealth grows, as houses get bigger, communities get smaller. The binding agents that regularly held our societies together, that regularly brought people together in communities, have been in steady decline over the past few decades. Participation in community groups has been steadily falling, along with attendance of organised religions. And don't get me wrong, I'm definitely not here to sing the praises of organised religion, but one thing that it does have going for it, it regularly brings people together. Church, Shabbat dinner, daily prayers, these things have real benefits aside from their religiosity because they allow us to satisfy these long inherited communal needs within all of us. Our understandable technological drive towards making our lives easier and more efficient for ourselves has left us isolated in our homes, removed from community and the positive connection that creates. Instead of going to the movies or a show, we'll just stream that at home. Instead of going to the markets or the shops and bumping into some people, we just get deliveries on deliveries on deliveries. Instead of catching up with some mates, we'll just leave that to the group chat. And although these new options might seem really nice and comfortable in the moment, and trust me, I'm guilty of doing all of them way too much, numerous studies have proven that they leave you feeling empty long term. Because the parasocial relationships that digital connection offers often pales in comparison to the real thing, whilst consumption, be it of goods or content, just leaves you with distraction and short-term solves to long-term issues. So, with all that in mind, the solution seems pretty simple, right? Just get out of your home and be with other people. Pretty easy. Just find some way to regularly be a part of some community. Lean into those long inherited desires to be around other people and see how good it is for you and those around you. And you know what? Bondi is actually pretty amazing for this. You got the clubbies, you got the surf lifesavers, all these amazing communities out the front. And I think that's a really good thing. Because although these communities might seem inconsequential, I think they couldn't be more important to individual and societal health. But as simple as that sounds, those things might not be for everyone. Highly organised, specifically timed community groups might not be your thing. In fact, they weren't mine. If you told me a decade ago that joining the Surf Lifesavers was the solution to all life's problems, I probably would have cringed and then surfed through the flags just to prove you wrong. Because as much as I think it is important to be together, to be part of a community, there is another part to this talk, the for others part. I think everyone should have something in their lives that they do for others. Whether this is for the people that you know or perfect strangers that you'll never meet. Whether this is offering someone life-altering support or just slightly improving someone's day, I think everyone should have something that they do on the reg to help other people and preferably with other people. I think way too much of contemporary society has become focused on the individual. It's all about what I want, what I need, and what I can do for myself to get it. Although I do think it's important to make sure you're doing okay before you can start helping other people, I do think this hyper individualistic focus can be really detrimental, because constantly focusing inwards on oneself can only do so much good. Ask any artist that too much introspection can be a really dangerous thing. This newfound obsession with self-improvement, with measuring one's biometrics of how many steps you're taking, how much sleep you're getting, how much bloody blood oxygen is in your system. All that time and energy would be so much better placed in simply measuring what you do every month to help other people. The darkest times of my life have always coincided with too much of a focus on myself. Those self-absorbed questions of, who am I? Am I doing enough of this or that to make sure I'm doing well? What do others think about me? In my experience, the best way out of those introspective rabbit holes of rumination is to focus on others. Escape this obsession with the self and just put all that time and energy into figuring out what you can do regularly to help other people. Because until you start doing regularly, until you start building those habits, you'll never know how much good it can do for all those other people that you're helping, but also for you. Yes, it might seem a bit counterintuitive, but an amazing externality of doing things for others is that it's also really good for you. It releases that serotonin, it releases that oxytocin, that self-care and wellness are constantly striving for. But instead of focusing inwards on oneself, you're doing it for others and with others. Now, I think people are usually pretty hesitant to talk about this because volunteering is often so associated with this idea of altruism, that doing things for others has to be completely selfless and self-sacrificing and only done with the noblest of intentions. And I think that's bullshit. I have no idea why we play down how good doing things for others can make you feel. If anything, we should be celebrating it. Because there's nothing better than doing things for others and feeling better as a result. And I've always been super lucky in this regard because I've always enjoyed making things. And one of the things that I grew into making was street art. Now, there are obviously still things I enjoy about making street art and ways that I benefit from doing so. But after decades of doing pretty much the same thing, risking fines to make art for no pay, the thing that really keeps me getting out there is the for others part. Because the street art I make isn't for me to look at, it's for others. The knowledge that putting a somewhat funny work in public space might give someone having a shit day an uplifting little chuckle is why I'm still interested in it. The satisfaction of turning an unloved piece of public property to something special for the community is why I still get out there. There's nothing better than finding something that you enjoy and that you can do for others. And I think this mutually beneficial connection should not only be acknowledged as okay to talk about, but celebrated. Because if it gets more people volunteering, then why not? But anyone who's done some volunteering before knows that you can't love every second of it. You can't always enjoy it, But even during those times, what amazes me is that it's still doing good for you and all those people that you're helping. Now, I can't think of a better example of this from my own experience than the North Bondi Shareboards. I do this thing, for anyone who's not familiar with it, where I try and save old surfboards from landfill by writing North Bondi Shareboard on them, fixing them up, and strapping them to a fence for others to enjoy. Essentially, thank you. I was not expecting a mid-speech clap, but it's much appreciated. So essentially recycling unwanted surfboards for use by others. What was like a silly little experiment over a decade ago has now turned into this epic example of community custodianship that regularly restores my faith in humanity. Because seeing someone unstrap a board, donate a board, take it out there for a wave, just enjoy the ocean as much as I do, and then bring it back for others to enjoy is honestly so incredible to see. There's something so special about seeing others enjoy the fruits of your labor that you freely volunteered. But as good as that enjoyment is, there are definitely days where I don't enjoy doing the shareboards. There are definitely days where it straight up sucks. The hours of dragging waterlogged shareboards back from wherever people have just abandoned them down the beach, the hours of getting covered in glue from failed fix attempts, the times where you're getting rained on, the times where a howling southerly is sandblasting you. It's during those times, it's during those hours that the power of doing things for others really impresses me. Because I know after all that frustration, I'll still feel better for doing it, and the next time I see someone having the time of their lives on a shareboard, it'll all be worth it. It can be absolutely anything if you want to volunteer. If you like gardening, start a community garden. If you like cooking, volunteer some meals every month and bring people together through your food. If you can make music, just find a way to consistently play for people. If you can bring half as much joy as those legends with the drum circle do every Sunday, you'll be doing so much good and helping yourself in the process. So, to sum up, find that thing that you can do for others and with others. Thanks for listening.